So you are a stranger to me, but we have a mutual friend, yes?
Yeah, Becca Peachy.
Becca. Becca's one of my favorite people, quickly becoming one of my favorite people. So
Why is that?
I have this little group called the Misfits, and she said you'd be a good fit.
Yeah, right on. Sorry, I lost you for a little bit there, but sounds like she had maybe reached out and told you about me a little bit or something like that.
Yeah. So who are you?
Who am I? I'm a guy out of Colorado Springs. Used to be military. That's just I don't know, looking to connect with people and build something cool, and I don't know, enjoy life. I guess is what I would call it.
So lost. You don't know.
I don't know. Like I struggle with this idea of like ever knowing what I want to do in life. Like it's not that I'm always discontent, but I think I always have so many ideas kind of running through my mind. It's like a little kid says like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And like I'm still in that phase of like, "What do I want to be when I grow up? Like, what does that
How
look
old are you?
like?" And 28.
Oh, I have some good news and some bad news.
What's that?
I'm 40 and I'm 40 and I still don't know. So
Yeah, that's what I hear more and more. Like I think
enjoy
that
the
that's maybe
process,
the
my dude.
fun. Yeah, that's like part of the fun part about life. Like you don't need to know. Like you just got to try different things and connect with people, see what they're enjoying, and figure it out together.
Yeah, the problem is not the not knowing. It's that I think a lot of people, when they don't know, then they don't do, and that's a problem because they're like, oh, I don't know what to do because you get like paralysis of like, what I have so many ideas and I could go do all these things, but then you don't really fully commit to any of them because you don't know which one is right, and that's a
Yeah,
mistake because you're never gonna know which one's right.
yeah. Do you feel like you've struggled with that or found a way to get past that?
Both.
Yeah,
I think I think of this quote by Sun Tzu very often about like if you know yourself and you know the enemy, then you need not fear 1,000 battles. But if you know yourself and not the enemy, then for every battle you win, you will also lose one. And if you know not yourself nor the enemy, you will always suffer defeat. And so I think I am starting to understand. The more I understand the enemy, the problem, and the more I understand myself, the easier it gets. But it's both. So it's not a
yeah,
purpose. It's just as much of a self problem as it is a purpose problem.
yeah. That's good. That's a cool quote. It's a lot to remember. Yeah, I think
I'm a.
what?
I have a list, a long list of quotes that I love, that I keep around.
Yeah, I think they're a good way to kind of like refocus or kind of like understand a complicated subject. You can kind of boil them down into the wise words of kind of how someone has distilled that information. But yeah, I would say one of the best things that has helped me over time is just being like a person that even if I don't have all the answers, like I'm still willing to take action. And so I'll just, if I think there's a reasonable chance that I can be successful at something or I don't know, do something, then I don't know. I don't really live with a whole bunch of fear. I'm more of like a risk taker, and so I don't let like inaction stop me. Like I'll just take action even if I don't have all the answers and chase whatever it is. And I think that's always been like a good trait.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we've distilled with the Misfits is everybody in that group, or most people in that group, are Myers Briggs type N's. Are you familiar with this?
Yeah,
Yeah. So the N is people who are they think abstractly and they daydream and they're generally scatterbrained. I think the overlap between people that have ADD and people who are MBTI is very high. So I don't know how you identify with that, or I know that's your I know that was your type was something, I forget what it was, but it was something N, and that's a very common
ENFJ.
theme. ENFJ. That's a very common theme. So again, it comes back to one of those things where if you know yourself and you realize that that's part of who you are, this like maybe loves an abstraction, loves a distraction, loves to question more than I like to question more than I like to have answers. If you understand these things, then it makes the process a little bit easier.
Yeah, that's fascinating. What's been like, I guess, like, what's the goal behind the Misfits community?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm a natural community builder, so every time I go to a new city, I start a real estate meetup or some kind of meetup, and I'm really good at attracting people. And over the years, I found that I attract a certain type of person, and I repel a certain type of person. And then I do it online a lot. I do a lot of online communities. I was very, very big in the Bigger Pockets forums. I was a top contributor. I had 5,000 something posts. I was writing blogs. And then I joined the War Room, Dave Perey's War Room. And, big contributor there. I was part of the podcast. And I was an early member, and I've spent a lot of time there. And then last year I joined and started Brandon Turner's new community, the Better Life Tribe. And I've been a big contributor there. And every time I have found that I've participated in somebody else's group, I found that what I want and what I'm good at don't always align very well with what the leader of that group wants to do. And so I found myself trying to do something that the person who's in charge either doesn't care about or doesn't value, or doesn't provide, because our goals are misaligned. And a lot of that is because these groups are designed to make money, which I don't believe should be the core focus of a community. A community should be people genuinely trying to add value to each other. I think about it like a neighborhood. Like if you have a neighborhood, you're like, come over and borrow sugar. I'm not charging you for it. Or like if you need a friend, you're like, let's have a potluck, or like if you need a friend, come over and let's chat. But like, I'm not going to charge you for that. Now, I'm not saying that there can't be communities with. It's not exclusively about not charging, because I think one day the Misfits will be a paid community, but it'll be more like an HOA, where the dollars will get reinvested back into the people rather than be a for-profit for Alex to live off of, because then it creates an asymmetry. So one has been money, and two, I think a lot of groups are fan clubs, and I don't want to start a fan club. I don't want it to be like, oh, we're here because Alex is cool. It's like, no, Alex is cool and we're here. Not, those are correlated, not causated. So all that to say, the old saying, like, I just stopped betting on other people and started betting on Alex. And I was like, look, I know how to attract people. I know how to invest in people, and getting together specific types of people, not by your demographic, not by like, oh, you're real estate and a military, but like, hey, are you going to fit the right? Are you going to be a good fit for the community? Is your personality type right? Do you have the right attitude? And so I'm vetting by not check boxes, or like just like, are you willing to pay? A lot of them are just like, are you willing to pay? Then you can join. And this is like, no, I'm making sure that we are going to, one, it's going to stay small. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to limit it to 100 people ever. It'll never be bigger than 100 people. And then two, I'm vetting everybody. And it's very, very small right now, but it'll grow. So those are my goals. My goals are to create an actual community that's not around a fan club, that's not around money, and where people actually participate. And once it gets a little bigger, what we'll start doing is we'll start forcing out people who don't participate. So you have to add as much as you take.
Yeah, I think that's the other tough part. A lot of the groups and communities, there's not participation. There's a lot of people that take, and I know, like, I don't know, I think of like the War Room specifically for me. I joined, and my specific squad, I mean, I give, and it's like, it's a lot of giving, and it's not a lot that I get from it, and that's fine. Like, I truly believe in like kind of the abundance mindset and giving back and like helping people as they're starting out. But I want to see other people like continue to, I think consistency is really big to me, and people aren't consistent. And I think that kind of kills communities too, like where you have a bunch of people that are just kind of bottom feeders and not like consistently even trying to be a part of anything or provide any sort of value.
Yeah, and so there's some interesting statistics around this. Well, there's two things that I'd like to say. One, there's an interesting statistic about the participation of the internet in general, the internet, 100% of the internet is curated and created by 1% of the users. So by nature, 99% of people on the internet only consume. And it's not because they only take, I think just people are shy. And they're not going to spend the time to write their thoughts or interact. And so, that being said, those might not be the right people for this group. You have to contribute. So but naturally, what you're going to do is you're going to get people who talk a lot, and you're going to get people who, lurk. And I'm okay with that to an extent. And I have some ideas about how to flesh that out. But in general, I think one of the things that I'm doing is having this exact conversation with people and be like, hey, are you part of other communities? Because a lot of people are stretched thin. And I'm like, if you're part of 3 or 4 other communities, you can't be contributing to all of them. So, not to say that that's an instant out, but I'm definitely looking for people who are like, looking for a place to invest and plant seeds and play a little bit of the long game.
Sure.
Yeah. So just creating mechanisms to make sure that people are here to participate and invest, because it's not really like, hey, this is a private community. This is just friends, man. This isn't like, there's nothing. It's nothing. It's brand new. It's just people that I really think I can spend the next 10 to 20 years building businesses with.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I'm
How do you?
But that's
No, it's cool. It's good. What do you think I guess, like, when you look at the design of other things that you've built, other communities you've been a part of, are there certain things that you think worked really well in terms of like breaking, say you did have 100 people, would you break them out into like, I don't know, groups of 5 or 10 or whatever? Do you think that was good? Do you think that worked, didn't work? Like, what is like kind of the format that you think truly works for a community?
Yeah, I think about this a lot. So there's nothing that works universally for everybody. The small groups do work sometimes, and they don't work sometimes. I think giving people the option to join small groups and self-create small groups is smart. I think creating a group where the structure is only small groups, I think what happens is you set this expectation where Jordan joins a squad and he's like, these are my 5 people, but the 5 people that you joined with are not the right people. And so now you're like, do I go through the hassle of switching and it ends up being random. And what it is it ends up being community leaders that just do what they think they're supposed to do instead of actually curating, like curating the experience for the individual. Maybe Jordan needs 5 people, but which 5 people? Maybe Jordan needs a group of 10 people. Maybe Jordan needs, maybe he needs all sorts of different things. Maybe he needs like today, me and Becca are doing office hours where we just post a Google link, and you can come and chit chat. We'll be there for like 4 or 5 hours. We're just going to work. I'm going to work on my stuff. She's going to work on her stuff, and sometimes we cross chat. And so if you had like a virtual office with 5-6 people, and you could check in on Wednesdays and come and just work and be a little, be held accountable, but also get some help. Like maybe you just need that. Maybe you need a Friday night, drinking, kind of club. Maybe you need one-on-one time. Maybe you need all of these things in different times, different like segments. So I think the problem is all of those things work for some people some of the time, and what the community leaders that I've known, the problem that they do is their goal is scale. Their goal is just scale. It's not about the individual. It's not about the community necessarily. It's not about the interactions. It's about scale. And I think that creates an inherent error, because what's best for Jordan is not for me to scale. It's for me to, provide Jordan the people that will help him grow, and a situation where he can help other people grow in varying formats based on personality type, which is inherently, I do not believe is scalable. I don't believe it's scalable. I don't believe that caring about people as individuals is scalable.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, and I think it doesn't create alignment of interest. If you are trying to scale, then like the value you provide doesn't necessarily align with that in a lot of ways. And so that can be tricky too.
Yeah, and look, I love those groups. I love War Room. I really want to join GoBundance, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do something different in those groups, which is I'm going to go find my people and take them over to the Misfits and do something else. Right, I'm gonna do something else in the Misfits. So I think you can be part of different groups, but understanding those things and how they relate to what I want to do is sort of important. And that's why I keep saying, like, look, 20 people is great. 100 people is going to be a little bit too much, but it'll be a little bit too much. But I don't think it'll ever be more than 100. And right now we're 21 people, so it's not like we're anywhere close. And it's not like we're adding people. I don't advertise it. And I make the barrier to entry very high, as you've noticed. It's a forum, then it's a conversation. You know, it's not just like...
Yeah, not as simple as putting a credit card in and joining.
No, and it's, in some ways, it's harder.
Yeah. Yeah. What is, I guess, like, slightly off topic, but, like, as you've kind of done life with a lot of different people, maybe, like, what's, like, a guiding principle of yours that, like, keeps you going, and, like, something that is kind of always in the back of your mind as you decide, like, what to put your time towards?
That's a good question. I am people-oriented. I'm the most extroverted person on planet Earth. So people are my guiding light. I have a very high belief in people. People are the number one investment. I don't invest in real estate. I don't invest in businesses. I don't invest in stocks. I only invest in people. Turns out all the stocks, businesses, and real estate are owned and ran by people. So,
Yeah.
so it works out really well. I need to distill this a little bit. It's a good question, so I don't have a great answer. I'll give you some shitty answers that I can riff off. But I think, in a weird way, always climbing the social ladder, like always finding the people that are hitting those next biggest goals is important. So I'm always sort of looking at, like, who can get me to here, and not like maliciously, but like, who can I get here with? Who can teach me? Who can I learn
That's
from?
fair.
And then when I get there, I say, like, okay, now who can get me to that next rung? And so I'm always climbing and always trying to take people up the ladder with me. And I'm very good at, like, finding the next goalpost and then making those people sort of fall in love with me, and then learning and earning my way, you know, earning that way. So for me, it's not like, here's my investing principles. It's like, who can I find that has complementary strengths and weaknesses to me, who I can, you know, agree with, get along with, and, like, I can be valuable to just as much as I'm asking for value. And then how can I sort of use my skills to make the ball, you know, keep pushing the ball up the hill. So, for example, I'll give you an example. So it's not just esoteric, but, like, you know, over the last 10 years, rental real estate was all underpriced, and now it's, like, not really underpriced. So, like, what's the next thing? Some of it will be real estate, some of it will be businesses. And so now I'm trying to find the people that are doing those things that I can learn from, be valuable to, and just learn. I learn best by watching and being around people. So
Cool.
That's my principle.
Yeah.
Just finding the people that are doing what I want to do.
Yeah, I can resonate a lot with that, because I think that's where I find a lot of value in, like, community, whether it be, like, local community that either we have here, but, like, community with people that I know are doing things that I want to do, right? Like, you're the average saying, like, you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with. And, like, I think that's so true. Like, the people that you are with on a daily basis or on a regular basis, consistent with, is kind of, like, going to point you towards what you are going to become, and kind of, like, where you spend your time. And so I just think there's just tons of value there. And that's kind of what has always interested me about, like, different communities and how time is spent.
Yeah.
You froze on me.
I don't know if I lost you. You can never get good internet these days. Sorry.
Oh, good. You just disappeared.
Dude, I don't know if it's a Riverside thing or like, I don't know, but like this thing is always dropping off. It pisses me off so much.
Huh. I've never used Riverside. This is new to me.
Well, I think I love it, but it's like every time I do a call, it's like I get a gap. Um, yeah, so the average of the five people you surround yourself with is a big one. I usually refer to it this way, like I like to brainwash myself with what's normal. And if you hang out with people, because I used to be an alcoholic, and I look back at my life and I'm like, how did I become an alcoholic? I never thought of myself as an alcoholic when I was doing it. And it's like, oh, it's because I hung out with people who thought that going to the bar and drinking and getting blackout drunk 4 nights a week was normal behavior. And
Yeah.
so when everybody you do thinks that's normal, then you're like, this is normal. I didn't feel like alcoholism. Now I'm like, that's crazy and unproductive. And now I hang out with people that close huge real estate deals. You know, most of my friends are worth, 5 to 20 times what I'm worth, right? And now it's like, dude, my net worth is just rapidly rising because, they're just buying $10 million buildings and they're like, hey, can you be a part of this little deal so we can do some media or we can do this? And I'm like, yeah, I'll take a little slice here and a little slice there. And I get my little GP slices and they start adding up. And it's like, for them, it's, giving Alex a 6-figure piece of equity is no big deal. For me, it's like, that's a lot better than alcoholism. So the question becomes, how do you go find somebody that's buying $100 million deals rather than $10 million deals? So this is where when I said like climbing that social ladder, I don't mean to sound it like I don't want to sound like an opportunist as much as I just know that if I go climb the ladder, I can take a lot more people with me. But if I try to figure it all out for myself for the first time, it's like, why bother? So, so surrounding yourself with the 5 people, brainwashing yourself with what's normal, very, very, very good life principle to live by.
Yeah. I am kind of, I was at the gym the other day and I was inspired by this person's shirt, which is kind of stupid, but it said like seek discomfort. And like, it just really, I was like, yeah, that's true. Like that's in life. Like we may get to a certain point and then we get comfortable, right? Like doing my first real estate deal, it's like, oh, that was scary. But then you do it and you do it over and over again. And you're like, this isn't even stretching me anymore, right? This is simple. But you're like, this is what everyone else is doing now. And so then you have to like, okay, what am I going to do? That's the next step up. What's the next level up? And just constantly kind of like seeking that. And that happens a lot of times with kind of who you're surrounding yourself with. Like you're saying, like, okay, you get to this $10 million level. Okay, now I need to take it a step up. Now I need to start networking with the people that are doing $100 million deals. And then you're doing that. And so, yeah, that's immediately what I think of. That's cool.
Yeah, so it's that exact principle, but because I'm just so people oriented, I'm not focused on the harder set of the business. I'm focused on the next set, the next discomfortable partnership.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
Same principle. Yeah, and like discomfort, I'm a big gym rat. So I'm always taking the things that I've learned at 22 years of heavy lifting and applying it to business because in a weird way, the gym is harder than business.
It's true. I love how it's all connected too. Like just so many different things in life. You can kind of relate them to so many different areas.
Yeah. I'm a small business owner, investor. I don't know. Not really a good business owner. But I'm a gym rat and I'm an artist. I've been doing cameras now for a few years. So they're all very interconnected. It's interesting how the principles are so similar.
Yeah. Yeah. You know.
Yeah.
Cool.
So tell me about your business like experience. Where are you trying to go?
Yeah. So what I've done in the past is essentially I've gone from residential real estate, like on the investment side, into actually like helping people purchase those. Kind of one of my goals was always to just help people replicate what I've done. So, been able to kind of get further ahead than a lot of other people at a younger age just by like taking risks, jumping into residential real estate, specifically like short-term rentals in the Colorado area. And like through that, that's kind of stretched me, grown me. I now run operations for a large short-term rental management company in the area that manages about 160 or so units across a few states. But the next level for me is really just looking at like, how do I scale this into something more like business oriented? And so I've been looking at like buying a boutique hotel, which has kind of been really interesting to me to combine kind of maybe some of the management side that I've learned over time, and as well as some of the short-term rental experience that I already have. So that's kind of been like the current thing I'm pursuing. But like outside of that, like I think it'd be fun to buy a business in the future. But like most of my business experience is mainly just real estate at this point.
I have a few people who do boutique hotels in the group.
Oh, nice. That's sweet.
I love that space. I don't know much about it. It's not for me, but I have a few people in the group that do that space, and it's growing. So, yeah, I love that. In fact, one of my buddies is hosting a it's called Boutique Hotel Conference in in Tennessee.
Is it Blake Daly?
Blake Daly.
Yeah, I don't know him like personally, but I've got a handful of connections to other people that know him, and I've been watching kind of what he's doing in the space. Super cool to kind of see him growing and expanding.
Him and I went to Guatemala together, so I know him very well. And
Nice.
and I'm gonna shoot that event as a photographer.
Dude, I'd love to be there. I think he's doing it like mid-September, and my wife and I have our first kid on the way. That'll be born the first week of September. So
Congrats.
I'm like, yeah, I'm excited, but I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. I'd so be there if it wasn't for that. But I think it's a hard sell to my wife that, hey, I'm gonna go away a week after our first kid is born. So
Yeah, don't do that.
yeah. But yeah, it looks awesome, and yeah, I'd love an opportunity to get to know him a little bit better if the opportunity presents itself. But yeah, I think it is a growing space. I think it's getting a lot of attention right now, but I think there's a lot of room to grow in it too. So
Yeah, and I know some other people. They're not in Misfits, but I know some other people that are doing it, like Dia, my friend Dia Lu.
oh yeah, do you know her?
Dude, I'm very popular.
You clearly are. I mean, I just follow these people on social media. I don't know them. I just I know what they're doing. So you're way more
I know
connected.
I told you, like,
That's awesome.
I'm a super extrovert. Like,
Yeah.
when I told you before, like the Misfits started because I'm like, okay, I know all these people, and some of them are good to know, but some of them are like my people.
Yeah.
And so trying to collect and corral my people into a subgroup of like, here's where I want to focus most of my energies has been fruitful. Blake doesn't really participate in the group, but there's also some weird, the group is weird. It's not a bunch of people that know each other, so it's hard to get them to like all engage. But over time, it'll,
Yeah.
as people get to know each other better, I know that it'll work out. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, Blake's in there. I know Dia, and in fact, we're about to move to Austin, and Dia's in Austin, so I'll get to know her better for sure.
Nice. That's sweet.
And I know some people that are doing like luxury resorts at a high level,
Wow.
like $10 and $50 million boutique resorts. So
Wow.
yeah,
That's the next level.
yeah. My friend Josh, she is very much next level, but he's been doing it 20 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, but anyways, yeah. Well, I don't know. What other questions do you have?
I think that kind of covers it. It's been cool. I feel like it's important for me to like kind of understand people's heart behind things and see what drives people. I think that I'm a big like alignment of interest person where I want to do life with people that have like share a lot of the same like desires and morals and kind of like background in life. Because I think that those are the people that I think is, you know, if they're greedy or if, you know, they're like super self focused and stuff like that. I think that those type of people are just, I've just noticed those things don't last. Those relationships don't last. And so, yeah, just wanted to get to know you a little bit better and see kind of what you're doing, what you're building, and you know if it's all a good fit.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm trying to think of like, I need to distill it, but I need to write it out. But like, what's the purpose of the Misfits? Because if I could, you know, have that written, that'd make everybody's life a little bit easier. Because then you could know, you know, closer like if you are the right fit or not.
Yeah, well, even looking at like, I mean, I like the idea of like even vivid visions of like, okay, what do I see this being, and like just understanding what that looks like, I think is important. So yeah, I think even just for like from a company standpoint or for a community standpoint to understand like this is what we want the community to be, and this is like you want everyone right that's going to be part of that community to buy into that vision, so that everyone is kind of spreading that same thing and is providing like kind of the same experience and value to everyone else in the community. So could be beneficial.
Yeah, and there's a small subgroup, a very small subgroup growing within the Misfits. I mean, the Misfits only 20 people, but there's a couple of people that are in a smaller set of that will be a high paid version of that. But that's like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to think. What I'll do is I'm going to work on that this week. Actually, is like the vivid vision. It's on my list already, but like being able to tell somebody like you, like, hey, it's actually been very difficult, Jordan. It's been very difficult to take the time over the years to distill and say like, why are some of these people my people and why are some of these people not my people? And coming and figuring out that the MBTI N is a big part of it, and the S isn't, actually is hard, and it's been useful because I didn't realize this, but 75% of the country are S's.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and we don't think the same way. And so the more that I see that, the more I'm like, N's are my people, at least partially. So if you can get like personality types, values, goals, if you can start writing that stuff out, I'm going to start writing it out and be able to say to somebody, hey, this is if it's right for you and this is if it's wrong, and curate those people, then I think, again, there's 8 billion people on the planet. I need this to be 100 super right, perfect people. Not perfect, but,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
curated people. And
Yeah.
and then a mechanism to get people out if they're like no longer a good fit. Because that happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Cool, man.
yeah. So
Yeah,
we're
I'd love for you to
working
keep me updated on it. Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to hear more about it, and
Well, I'm happy
even
to.
if I'm a good
add,
fit.
I'm
So.
happy, yeah, it sounds like it. I'm happy to add you. I mean, generally, I mean, look, I'm not being. Becca said you were good. This isn't like I said, it's new. It's not a big deal. We're trying to create a system to make sure we set it up well from the start. So I'm more than happy to add you.
Cool.
I'm more than happy to add you, and we'll grow this thing together.
Yeah, I love that. Sounds awesome.
All right. Like I said, there's not much right now, but it'll grow. So
Okay, cool. I'll keep an eye out for, I guess, any information, whether it be from you or Becca, or kind of what that looks
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
But yeah,
yeah, it's just
Sweet.
a WhatsApp group. It's nothing fancy.
okay. Nothing fancy yet.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll do. I think at some point this year we'll do an in-person meetup, and I haven't announced it or advertised or anything like that. So it'll grow, and then once it grows, it'll become more exclusive and unique. And then as people start doing deals together, it'll be important.
Sweet. Yeah. All right, man. I look forward to it.
All right, buddy. Hey, really good to meet you. Do you have any?
You too,
anything else
Alex.
I can do for you?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think I'm
All
good.
right, you're easy.
But I'll let you know. All right, man. Cool. Well, I'll talk to you later, and I'll keep an eye out for some more information.
Sounds good. See you around.
All right, later.